All right, Coach. Well, let's talk about kind of the last three matches as a whole. The 270 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah.
As a whole, I would say some great things happened and
Right.
chances had, but
Yeah.
those 30 seconds there. So what kind of gets you guys over that hump where you kind of see those turns?
Yeah, we just got to finish our chances. I think it was obviously a tough trip, and it was never going to be easy going down and playing Parkside in Purdue. But we made enough chances to win the game or to at least draw, and so we just didn't. And at times it can seem frustrating, but the guys are playing really well, and they're fighting as hard as they can. And when you give up 2 set pieces on the road in those 2 games, it's obviously deflating. It's disappointing, but we know those are mistakes that are preventable. But when you're on the road and maybe you're not playing as well as you'd like in that first half against Purdue, you can't give up set piece goals. I mean, it was kind of a fluky, set piece that was served in, second ball, kid who was scoring a bunch of goals got loose and he scored, and that's 1-0. And then, obviously against Parkside, the guys were fantastic. It was one of the best games we've played as a whole, despite the injuries and the challenges we've had there. But you can't give up a late corner, and it actually came from an offsides from us down on the other side, long ball in, corner kick, and that's how it happens in soccer. So for us, we've got to keep fighting the way we are. I think that's the big message, is that nobody really wants to play Northern Michigan, but they know right now that we can't score. So if they get 1 goal on us, they feel like they can win the match. And so we've got to turn that around. We're finishing some early chances, and now teams are going to think, oh, well, we can't score on them, so this is going to be tough. And that's the message for our guys. It's going to be another tough week, short week. We're on the road again. We leave Wednesday. But I have full faith in these guys. They work so hard. They care so much. I've never been around a group that's so willing to respond to disappointments and fight for each other. I think that's a really good sign, because if you look at our record and you look from the outside, it could probably look like we're falling apart, but we're certainly not. And I know some groups at this point probably would have, and I've been a part of those teams before. Not this group of guys. They are so devoted to each other and the mission that we're on. We just got to turn the luck our way at some point.
Not necessarily a soccer question, but
Okay.
I'm sure as you know, in the GLIAC, BGSU hockey recently had a hazing incident where now they have a coach suspended and 3 players. While it's not the same sport, it is
Right.
the same conference, and obviously, hazing is something that we see throughout all college sports and just
Right.
colleges in general. What ways have you kind of addressed this at all with your team?
Of course.
Have you kind of addressed this with your program? What,
Yep.
Can you tell me a little about what you told your team about the incident or about hazing?
Well, we didn't talk about that particular incident. Obviously, we've addressed hazing. It's not allowed. There's no such thing as initiation. The initiation to be part of the team is me as the coach accepting on the team, and you're part of the team. But so that's the direct way we've handled it. But for us, it's been through our work on our culture. We routinely meet as a group in the off season to review where we are as a culture, where we want to go, and what are some things we need to get better at. And doesn't necessarily mean soccer. It might mean emotional intelligence. It might mean how we speak to each other. So our culture and the guys we brought in and the message we're sending does the job for us, where we don't have to say, hey, there's no hazing, guys. Like, they know that. And our athletes that's just not the way they operate. They're not into that sort of mentality. But I think it's the bonds that they have, the culture that we have, the friendships that we have, that's going to kind of keep them away from that sort of issue. But yeah, hazing and initiations are obviously not allowed, and it's not something that really we're too concerned about, because our guys are just focused on playing and trying to get better.
And then, Coach, we look at on the road again. Yeah. Is it a different dynamic when you go on the road and you're not at home, so it's
right.
not your home pitch? What's the message you tell your guys, as you're getting off the bus, of like, hey, all right, we've got to switch into game mode and we got to get ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, they should have the routine down by now. This is going to be our 3rd road trip this year, and obviously in back-to-back weeks. But we try to do our best to make sure that the day, game day before, is all done in the same routine as we would at home. When we're eating, when we're meeting, the discussions, the videos. So I sometimes like being away just because you can have their full attention, and so basically every minute is scripted on an away trip. And so they know it's a business trip. It's not a leisurely, drive down to Eau Claire and hang out. No, we're on the road to win. I mean, that's the expectation. And so I don't think I'm going to have to say much this trip. They're pretty motivated to kind of turn this thing around, and they better be, because Eau Claire is a very good team. They're D3, but they're in the national tournament last year. They're scoring a bunch of goals. They came here in the Dome in the wintertime, so we know a little bit about them. And St. Cloud, I mean, they found themselves ahead of us in the standings already. So Sunday's also a big match. So for us, we're going to continue to push the professionalism and the serious approach, because that's what's needed, and that's the expectation. Is we're on the road to win games, and we're bringing guys that we feel that can do that. And the guys that don't make the trip, it's tough, but they have to understand that we're taking a group of guys that we feel like are going to win the game for us, and that's the mentality we have to take.
Have you had a chance to assess UW Eau Claire's team this season at all? Or?
Not yet. We're going to do that today, just because
Okay.
the streaming services for D3 we don't have full access to like Flow, but they play today, so we're going to get a look at them this afternoon, and then kind of game plan for what we have. But we've got some guys out, and we've got some suspension, so we're going to have to kind of reload and see who's going to step up and play, and I have no doubt that we'll have the guys ready to go on Thursday, for that match.
Is it like a sigh of relief when you guys do score a goal, or is it like the pressure's off? How do you guys respond when the...
I don't know. It's been like 4 games, so that we'll see. It'll be a stress relief for sure. But look, if you look at the GLIAC standings, and you look at every game, has been either a 1-goal game or a tie between every single match. The only one that was 2-0 was Parkside beat St. Cloud 2-0, and they scored in the 89th minute on an empty net. It was like a hockey empty net goal. So every single game is either a 1-goal or 0-0 game. Saginaw tied Davenport 0-0 yesterday, or 2 days ago. So for us, we just got to keep finding a way. I mean, we've created the chances. We've looked at the tape. We've created enough good chances to score their goals. That's just, at some point, the law of averages has got to kick in your way. But we're going to just keep fighting and keep trying to score goals. We know we're not giving up goals. We've got one of the best defenses in the country, one of the best goalkeepers in the country. Actually, probably the 2 best goalkeepers in the country. But we've got to find the net, and that's the only way to win games. And so we're going to keep working on it as best we can when we can train. And what better opportunity than Thursday in a real match against a good team where we're going to have a lot of the ball to score some goals and to get ourselves back on the winning side of things.